Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Sorry it's been so long. Not like it matters, but today we
or
have
anybody noticed.
right. Today we have a more informative kind of video. So we'll be discussing vegetarianism, veganism.
So I'm coming up on about a year of being vegetarian, and I haven't really shared this part of my life with anybody other than like my family. Everybody knows in my family that I'm a vegetarian, but no outsiders I've really shared this with yet. But as I said, I'm coming up on about a year of being vegetarian, and it's really benefited my life in many, many different ways. So I wanted to make a little informative type video because when I was trying to find more things about different types of vegetarianism, I couldn't find much. So I wanted to make kind of an informative type video. It's not going to be as funny as our other ones, although those aren't really funny either, but I think it's important. It's important. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about terminology. I have notes right here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. So a vegetarian diet is a diet that includes plant-based foods and eliminates some or all animal-based foods. Different types of vegetarian diets. I have these listed in order of like intensity. So the first ones we talk about are like the least exclusive, and then they get more exclusive the further down I go into my list. There's about 7 different types of vegetarian diets. I'm sure other people can find more, but these are like the 7 main ones I feel. So the first type of vegetarian diet is semi-vegetarian, which is what Aubrey is. It excludes red meat, but may include fish, poultry, and still has dairy and egg products. Then there's pescatarian, which excludes all animal flesh except fish and eggs and dairy products. Then there's a lacto-ovo-vegetarian, which is me, which means I exclude all animal flesh, but I still consume dairy and eggs. Then we have a lacto-vegetarian, which is basically the same thing except they no longer have eggs. And then there's an ovo-vegetarian, or a new term for that is now called a vegan type of vegetarian, which excludes obviously all animal flesh, dairy, but they will still consume eggs. And then we have someone who is just plant-based, which means that they're excluding all animal products such as meat, dairy, and eggs. But that's just about it. There's no like moral side to it. It's just you're plant-based. You don't eat meat, you don't eat dairy, you don't eat eggs, but not for any like specific environmental, health, or ecological reasons. If that makes sense. And then the last of them all, which is what I feel like if you're going to be on this journey, being this should be your end result, or hope to be your end result, which is veganism. So what veganism is a diet that excludes all foods of animal origin such as meat, dairy, and eggs, and honey. They also refrain from purchasing products that have been tested on animals, and they also refrain from purchasing products that are made from animals, like wool, silk, snake skins, a lot of leather is made from cow. So they will try not to buy anything at least new that is made from those types of products. I know some vegans will still wear leather as long as they get it secondhand, so they're not paying directly to the manufacturers. So there's not going to be like a supply and demand issue making them make more leather for people because they're buying it secondhand. So veganism is more like a lifestyle. It's not so much of a diet at that point. You know, you're really into the ethics of it. You're really into the environmental havoc, you know, eating meat and consuming dairy and eggs can have on the environment. So that's kind of what veganism is. It's a lot more than just a diet. So before you go vegetarian, I feel like you need to have a really strong basis of why you want to do this. If you don't, it's going to be hard to stick with it, and you know, you're going to not be able to resist temptations as easily if you don't have a strong foundation for why you want to do this. So a good way to get a strong basis of why you're trying to do this is through education. There's a lot of videos on YouTube you can watch about what happens in animal agriculture and all the things that have to do with the dairy and egg industry that are pretty sad. And I don't know, you need to have a strong basis of why you want to do this. What has helped you?
Just watching documentaries and making that connection.
Right. So there's a lot of good documentaries out there that I recommend you watch. A lot of them are actually on Netflix, so they're pretty well available. So yeah, a lot of videos are actually on Netflix that you can watch. There's Earthlings, Cowspiracy, Okja, What the Health was a really important one for me because I'm going into the medical field, so it was very awakening for me to see What the Health and just actually be able to understand and have the knowledge of what these products are doing to your body and the long-term effects that they can have on your health. I'm sure you've all heard this before if you've ever seen any videos about being vegan, but 14 out of the 15 leading causes of our death can be scientifically linked to meat, dairy, and egg consumption, which is just mind-blowing to me that that's a fact, and not many people know that at all. They think, you know, eating meat is good for you, that it's protein, your body needs all this protein and calcium from cow's milk, and we're just brainwashed really to think that this is okay and it's something we need, when in fact it's not something we need, and it's actually very detrimental to your health, obviously the animals, and environmentally as well.
You know, at first, like, you know, it's hard because when you go out to restaurants, it's like everything isn't, you know, around the vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, so you don't get many options. It's just very, very cut and dry with meat and dairy and eggs and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's a little standoffish at first, but now that I've been a vegetarian for about a year, whenever she's over my place, I'm only cooking vegetarian options, and she's been really able to see that there is so many different options out there, and if you're cooking at home, really the sky's the limit. Anything can be made vegetarian, a lot of things can be made vegan, so it isn't that hard. It just seems so at first, but once you actually become vegetarian or vegan and you learn different recipes and different substitutes for egg and dairy products, it's not that bad. It really isn't. And when you know that you're doing something beyond yourself and you're doing something for the planet and the animals, it really makes you feel like you're doing the right thing, and I think it is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. As for some vegan YouTubers that I really like to watch that really helped educate me, there's the vegan couple, Kalel, she's vegan, I love watching her. Tyra family, they're like a UK vegan family. They're super cute. I love watching them. That's a great channel to watch too, especially if you have children and you're trying to get them to transfer over to the vegetarian vegan lifestyle. Her channel's great for that. Absolutely. Another great way to help you make this transition to the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle is to just get rid of anything in your fridge if you live alone that's meat, or if you want to be vegan, dairy and eggs as well. If you live with other family members, I mean, you can't expect them all to be for this lifestyle if it's something completely different to them. So if you live alone, you know, it's probably going to be a lot easier for you. You know, if you have meat in the fridge or whatever, honestly, I would say just toss it. It's not food, it's violence. If you're trying to be vegan and you have dairy and eggs in the fridge, I'd say either give it to someone who would use it that you know is not vegan or vegetarian, or just throw it away, because it's not something you want to be consuming, and it's not healthy for you either. And I know people think it's a waste, but it's not food. So that's a good mentality to have if you're trying to go vegan or vegetarian. So now that you've cleaned out all the old stuff, it's time to go grocery shopping. You know, get all these staples that you need to keep with a good vegetarian or vegan diet. Instead of buying meat for burgers, you can do Boca burgers.
Boca burgers. You can get, what's that? Gardein.
Oh, Gardein.
Gardein.
Yeah, Gardein makes some great like mock chicken and like mock ground beef products. Boca burgers are my favorite personally. If you like the taste of meat still, but you know you want to be vegetarian or vegan, get the American Grillers. No, those are really good. Yeah, Boca's great. Morningstar is good too. Just make sure if you're trying to go vegan that you check the ingredients, because some still contain dairy and eggs in the fake meat products, which is kind of, I don't know, I don't understand the point of that, but some still do, so make sure you're checking the ingredients. Don't be afraid to ask for help too at a grocery store, especially if you're like going to Whole Foods. They're really helpful, and a lot of them are actually vegan too, so they can really help you and give you good recommendations for different types of mock meat products that you should try, or that are good to try, so you don't waste your money buying the things that aren't so great. I'll probably make another video in the future going over some of my favorite alternatives, but yeah, definitely don't be afraid to ask for help. Google is your best friend. So if you're ever confused if something's vegetarian or vegan, I know it can be really confusing, especially in our society where they try to sneak dairy and eggs into absolutely everything. There's apps called Is It Vegan and Vegan Pocket that you can actually download on your phone for free, and all you have to do is just scan the barcode on an item and it will tell you if it's vegetarian or vegan. So that's really helpful, especially if you're really new to this and you don't really know what's vegetarian or vegan. That can really help. So I know a lot of people are scared when they're going vegetarian or vegan that it's going to be really, really expensive. And you know, like anything in life, it's as expensive as you make it. If you're buying a lot of these mock meat products, they're good, but they're going to tend to be a little bit more on the pricier side. If you're trying to save some money, you know, stick to whole plant foods. That really helps, you know, potatoes, rice, different types of grains, breads. They're pretty cheap and pretty satiating too, so those are a great alternative or something to incorporate into your diet that's easy and readily available. Obviously, a bunch of fresh fruit and vegetables are always great and usually not too expensive. So that's always good. Coupon too. I've really been getting into couponing as well since I've gone vegetarian to vegan as I've become vegetarian and trying to work towards being vegan. Couponing is just a great option. I personally shop at like Kroger or Meijer. I know those are kind of specific to my area, but they both have apps as well where you can clip the coupons off on your phone, and then when you type in your member number or whatever, or you scan your card, they will apply those coupons automatically, which is just great. And they are always coming out with more coupons for all my vegetarian and vegan options, which is great. And I think once you start buying those different alternatives, Meijer's will like match you with more coupons that are for your lifestyle. I know for me, at least, I'm always getting coupons now for alternative milks and my mock meat products and all that.
Another great way to be vegetarian or vegan is meal prepping. And, you know, so you're not like in a rush every day to be like, oh, what am I gonna make? And then, you know, you end up getting off track. So if you're meal prepping throughout the week, you know, you have a strict, you know, schedule of eating plant-based or mock meats and alternatives. So.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that they just don't have the time to do all the cooking and prepping for being a vegetarian or vegan. They think it just takes too much time.
But it really doesn't take that long.
It doesn't.
If you do it on the weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday, and then you're ready to go throughout the whole entire week.
Mm-hmm. So you just grab it and you can go, and it can be quick, easy, and convenient. And honestly, that's also a great tip if you're trying to lose some weight. Meal prepping is a great option, so you have something readily available, so you're not grabbing for those unhealthy types of foods and snacks. Mm-hmm. So meal prepping is just a wonderful tool. I recommend it to everybody, vegetarian, vegan, or even just an everyday person who's very busy and doesn't have time to cook for themselves every day. It really helps. Mm-hmm. Another tip that I have if you're newly vegetarian or vegan is actually having some fast factual comebacks. I know my family, and even you at first, because you didn't really understand it, gave me some slack for going vegetarian and vegan, just asking, you know, the typical questions that meat eaters always ask, like, oh, where are you going to get your protein?
You've been a meat eater like most of your life.
Right,
why are you going
right.
vegetarian or vegan now?
Right, which is probably the most frustrating when people say, like, but you ate meat all your life, like, why does it matter now? It's like, well, I was also ignorant my entire life, not knowing what was going on in these industries. So it's like, you say you can't become a better person, like, that makes no sense to me. Every moment is a new moment to be a better person, to do better. So take it, and, you know, once you find out what's going on, being oblivious to it, it can't be an option anymore. You can't be oblivious to it once you know about it. And that's really important too with sticking to being a vegetarian or vegan, is just knowing the ethics behind it. Making the ethical and environmental connection is, again, so important to sticking to this type of lifestyle. So I have those good quick comebacks, but as we're talking about more of the factual side of being a vegetarian or vegan, you know, although it's a great option and can really help improve your health and well-being, you do have to make sure that you're getting the right sources of vitamins and minerals into your diet, since you are taking out some of those main sources of protein and maybe calcium that you're getting from an animal-based diet. When you're switching over to a plant-based, you want to make sure you're still incorporating all those micronutrients and macros that you need to be a healthy person. So a lot of people think when you're going vegetarian or vegan that the protein issue is going to be like your number one main priority of concern, which is really untrue. Actually, when you're going vegetarian or vegan, your vitamin and certain mineral your vitamins and certain minerals are actually more of concern to make sure that you're still getting and implicating into your diet. Protein is not actually the number one concern. The protein allowance that you really need daily is actually so much smaller than what people think. I believe it's 0.8 grams to every pound of your body weight. So I weigh 110 pounds, so I need around 40 grams of protein a day, and that's just your, that's for optimum health too. It's not even for your baseline, and it's not really about what you eat in a day. A weekly allowance of your vitamins and minerals is a better indicator if you're really getting enough nutrients. So yeah, that's more of a concern than the protein spiel, although protein is very important for you to still be able to have, and protein is still important for you to be consuming. You don't need nearly as much as what people think. It's very small, and it's very easily maintainable too. I know my veggie burgers that I eat already have 20 grams of proteins in there, and actually every whole plant food has protein in it. It's just obviously a lower amount than animal products, but it's not something that you really need to be worrying about. It's very easy to get in your diet and implicate into your diet on a vegan or vegetarian.
It's not like you're going to deprive yourself of protein.
Right.
When you switch over to being a vegetarian or vegan.
Absolutely. Other than the protein issue that we just discussed, you also want to make sure, I'm sure if you've seen any videos about going vegan or vegetarian, is the B12 issue. So B12 is a type of vitamin that comes actually from soil bacteria. So you don't have to get that from animal protein. In fact, most animals that are in the farm and agricultural industry, they're fed B12 supplements as well. So most people are deficient in vitamin B12, whether you're vegetarian or vegan or a meat eater. A lot of people are still B12 deficient. So different ways to get B12 if you're not going to be eating meat anymore. So you can do like a bunch of different fortified products. Obviously you can take a supplement every day if you want, which is absolutely fine. Different breakfast cereals are fortified with B12, nutritional yeast. I love that stuff. Put that on anything. And that's a great way to get your B12 as well. As for your calcium needs, especially if you're going vegan and you're going to cut out every dairy product, a way to get your calcium, again, is rice milk, almond milk, coconut milk. There's all these different types of milk that they fortify with calcium, and actually my almond milk that I drink says it has 50% more calcium than traditional milk. So that's where you could get your calcium. A lot of dark leafy greens have a lot of calcium in them as well, like kale, bok choy, legumes. Those are great sources of calcium. Vitamin D can also be a vitamin at risk when you go vegan. So vitamin D is in a lot of dairy products, but again, you can get vitamin D fortified foods, and that will solve that problem for you. So iron, zinc, iodine, and omega-3 fatty acids can sometimes be an area of concern when you go vegetarian or vegan. So you guys can just look up ways to implicate that into your diet. If you want, I can make a separate video too about how to get all of your different micro and macronutrients on a vegetarian or vegan diet, but it's very simple. It's not hard to do at all. With the right education, if you're eating enough of the right foods, you're not going to be deficient in anything, and you're just going to reap the benefits of this type of lifestyle. Okay, so some extra just little tips you could implicate into your life to help you stay with a vegetarian or vegan diet is community. I find that so helpful. Obviously, if you're around a bunch of meat eaters and nobody else is a vegetarian or vegan, it can feel a little excluding, or you could feel a little bit alone in this type of lifestyle. So
join groups. Facebook groups.
Right. Facebook has actually quite a few groups you could try to find.
Go to Whole Foods and make friends.
Oh yeah, Whole Foods is a great place to meet some vegan and vegetarian friends. I feel like whenever I'm in any store, if I'm in the vegan or vegetarian section, I'm always talking to new people.
You get out there and you network better, and then you start joining more bigger community.
Right. I feel like if you're vegetarian or vegan and you run into somebody else who's also vegetarian or vegan, like everybody just gets so excited that other people are joining the movement. So
and they give you like little tips and tricks and advice. They're like, "Oh, try this. It's really good." And you're like, "Yes, thank you."
Yeah. Exchange numbers. Be safe, of course, but making friends, having a community to fall back on, and having like a friend group to go out with, maybe to different restaurants, vegan and vegetarian restaurants, it really helps having a good solid community with other vegetarians or vegans. But of course, if you don't live in an area where there's a lot of other vegetarians or vegans and you feel kind of alone, again, having that solid foundation about why you want to do this and that ethical connection will really help you stay on task, even if you're alone in this, you know.
If it gets really hard, you can do what I did. I actually put up like a poster of an animal getting slaughtered in my room for a while, just because it was just so repulsive to me to see
Right.
a cow or a baby pig get slaughtered or something.
Right. That's a really good tip too. If you're like sitting down for a meal and everybody else around you is eating like burgers and chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, it can be helpful to have just like that visual
Aid.
Yeah, that visual aid while you're eating. So if you have to look up a picture of a cute little baby cow to make you not eat that hamburger, do it. I know like the first 2 or 3 weeks that I went vegetarian, I literally had to do that every meal. Also, if you really feel like you want that burger, like, what is this one time gonna matter? They're disturbing, but sometimes you have to watch the animal slaughter videos. I don't like watching them. Nobody, I think, likes watching them. But if you feel like you're on the verge of messing up or slipping, you gotta watch them, because you have to remember, you gotta make that connection again. Another little trick that I would also recommend is, if you can, try to avoid going to restaurants, with at least for like the first month of going vegetarian. I know that could be really hard for some people, especially if you have a busy schedule, but I felt like it would really help. I know the second day I went vegetarian, my dad took my sister and I out to a restaurant, and they were both eating burgers, and I hadn't really looked up what I could eat there, so I just kind of ate nothing and was kind of sad, and kind of turned me off a little bit to the lifestyle, but I stayed strong.
So if you do go out to a restaurant anytime when you start that lifestyle, definitely do your research first.
Right. If you're gonna if you're not gonna avoid restaurants for the first month of going vegetarian or vegan, you have to do your research. Look up the restaurant. Look up what vegetarian or vegan options they have, so when you get there, you have an idea in your head about what you're gonna order to help you resist temptations.
Alright guys, that's it for today. Sorry this video was a little all over the place, and we were just trying to inform people out there who are trying to switch over to the vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. If you have any questions, comment down below. Otherwise,
We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,
Bye guys.
bye.